My name is Jeff Maloney, and I'm currently the mayor of the city of Alhambra. Today we're at the Alhambra Farmers Market with Cause. I'm a longtime resident here, 20 plus years, and I think it's a wonderful town. This is my friend Mike from high school. See you, Mike. My first job after college, before I went to law school, was working on the campaign for former Assemblymember George Nakano in the South Bay and Los Angeles area. And I made lots of good friends. I made a lot of contacts and folks that I stayed in touch with here and there over the years. But it was incredible when I decided to run and I sort of got back into that world, how many of those people were still involved in the nonprofit, the political world. So it was almost like I had this existing network of folks to call upon to advise me and show me the ropes and help me out in different ways. And it was incredible. And I couldn't really have thought that at the time 20 years ago, but I couldn't have done what I'm doing now without that network, without those group of people. So. I'm Japanese American, I'm half Japanese, but I remember that during the movement for redress in the 80s, it really drove home the importance of having a voice and having a seat at the table, decision-making table, because you know that when those decisions were made about 100,000+ people, American citizens put into a prison camp without any due process whatsoever. That decision, there was no Japanese Americans around that table when that decision was being made. There's no Asian Americans at that table. But if there were, maybe someone would have said, hey, wait a minute, this isn't right. So we need to be at that table. And this goes for any community, underrepresented community, any marginalized community, just showing up. Showing up to events where you might not feel comfortable, but you put yourself out there and you talk to someone, and maybe 9 of 10 conversations don't go anywhere and it's just superficial, but you meet that 10th person and you make a connection and you say, hey, let's talk about this more. And maybe you go out and have coffee and discuss something that's of mutual interest. And that's not always easy. It's not easy for anyone, but especially folks who may be immigrants themselves or the children of immigrants who have come over and have struggled in different ways. It's difficult for them sometimes to see themselves in that position. But I recognize that it's incumbent upon people like me to help create a support network, to help create mentorships so that when people are thinking about that, they have someone to turn to and rely on. And that's why organizations like Cause and a lot of the elected officials that have come before me, that's why they've done such a great job bringing up this generation, and we have to recognize it's on us to continue that. Think globally and act locally. I'm just constantly disappointed by the start and stop leadership that we see in Washington, D.C., where individuals can make such a big impact is in their own communities. And you'll see movement. I mean, you could go and scream into the wind, and you're not going to get the U.S. Senate to act on this right now, but you can go and talk to your city council, and if you're smart about it, you're strategic, and you keep the pressure on, they're going to listen to you. They have to listen to you. We're not even talking about these other issues if we don't have a healthy environment to live in. The types of vehicles we purchase to how we conduct our activities in the parks, to our land use, to the types of takeout containers that our restaurants use. I want it to be comprehensive, a grassroots effort, so we're going to start engagement, outreach. It didn't seem feasible when I first talked about it 3-4 years ago, but we kept talking about it. We put it on our strategic priority list for the city, and when we have times when our representatives in Congress or the state legislature will ask us, what projects do you have? What would you like help funding? And we put this at the top of our list, and we got it. And it doesn't just have to be in quote AAPI communities. We're Americans, right? So we can run for office. We can represent any district anywhere in the entire country. You have to be out there in your community. You have to let people know that you're involved and engaged, and you're going to hold your decision makers accountable, and that you're watching. And you're supportive when they do good work, and that you're going to be there to remind them if they're not doing good work. Subscribe to your local newspaper if you have it. Follow the different neighborhood groups on social media so you know the issues that are coming up, and get to know your elected officials. I can tell you for sure that I love talking to new people that I meet in my community. because that's my job as an elected official. I need to know them, and they're the ones who are going to inform me about what's going out in the community, and that's the only way I can be effective. And you know, the next election, I want to be able to show that I'm engaged and I'm doing the work that they elected me to do.